Well, hey everybody, TinyLeaf here, and Happy New Year! Please forgive me for not publishing this on actual New Year's Day. I've been a little bit busy. A lot of my content in 2022 was mostly me talking about video games that I didn't like, and as fun as that can be, it also gets pretty draining to be that negative all the time, and it's made working on V3 kind of a pain. So to ring in the new year with a little bit more positivity, I thought that I would hand out my own game awards this year for everything that I played back in 2022 that I happen to really like. Because most of the games that I did play this year ended up being very good. I think most of these games came out before 2022. But even so, I'm going to be keeping this video entirely spoiler-free in case something I recommend happens to pique your interest and you want to check it out. So, let's start off with the first category. Baba Is You is a block-pushing puzzle game where you guide Baba, who is you, towards the level objective known as Win. Baba Is You stands out amongst other puzzle games because the main gameplay mechanic is affecting the mechanics yourself. Each level has sentences made up of word blocks which determine the rules of the level. And by pushing different words around, you can make sentences that help you reach your objective. Cog is push, rock is you and float, Baba is win. This simple game mechanic lends for some outside-the-box thinking and fooling around with different combinations until you get just the right phrase. And the levels are designed in such a way that the player has plenty of time to learn how new game mechanics work, and then be able to take that knowledge that they learned and apply it to different levels as they become more difficult. To this day, I've still not beat every level because it's just that difficult for my stupid brain, but really, any puzzle lover needs to try out Baba Is You. It's a great challenge wrapped up in a cute little package that has adorable sound design. Plants vs. Zombies is a tower defense game where you plant plants to kill the hordes of zombies coming for your delicious brains. Simple premise, right? Well, that simple premise got me this many hours of playtime. For such a simple and cheap game, Plants vs. Zombies gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Even after you beat the normal adventure mode, you've got a new game plus to test your hand at, a dozen mini games and puzzles for you to complete, and a cute little Zen garden where you can grow money. I spent a lot of time playing the sequel after I finished playing PvZ, but there's something about the original that the second game just doesn't have. Or rather, that the original lacks. While not too difficult, the levels can give you a hard time the further along you get, and there's some fun challenges to undertake on repeat playthroughs. But it's still pretty easy on the brain if you just need something to pass the time with and you don't really have the brain space to work on anything. That makes it the perfect game for whenever you have some time to kill, or you have online classes to not pay attention to. Celeste is a 2D pixelated platformer where you play as Madeline, a woman trying to climb up the Celeste Mountain and coming to terms with some personal baggage along the way. By itself, Celeste is beautiful and heartwarming, but some people may not be so inclined to try it out because they're not good at platformers and they've heard how hard it is. But that's specifically why I want to shout out this game. Because what I learned is that there are a variety of difficulty settings you can toggle as you please until you find a combo that works for you. You can adjust how fast the game moves, give yourself extra stamina and even invincibility, and there's a neat dash assist feature if you just don't quite understand how to make it work. You can adjust them at any time to make it harder or easier, and the game does not shame you for doing so. I was having a rough enough time in the real world that the unmodified difficulty of Celeste wasn't something I was able to enjoy. So for most of the game, I played it at about 70% speed with extra stamina for climbing. I'd adjust it to be harder or easier depending on the day and how much fun I was having. But even the easier difficulties aren't too easy. Some of the puzzles and platforming requires quick reflexes and thinking in order to progress. So if you've been hesitant about trying out Celeste because you've heard how difficult it is, just give it a go. It's so user-friendly that you're bound to find some settings that make it work for you. And this game is beautiful enough that everybody deserves to experience it once. Alright lads, it's time to be pretentious, because I know this game is more niche, but hear me out. Eliza is a visual novel where you play a woman named Evelyn, who works at a counseling service testing out an AI called Eliza. Eliza is meant to provide top-tier counseling to different clients, but they also make use of a human proxy, which allows the AI to give advice, but in a way that might be more comfortable to human clientele who don't necessarily want to take advice from a robot. Eliza is a visual novel, so it's not the most demanding gameplay out there. But Eliza's main draw comes from the questions it explores regarding the use of AI and ethics of big tech companies. It does a great job of capturing the nuance behind multiple perspectives without ever strawmanning any of them. If you're somebody who has an interest in AI ethics, like me, it can provide some good food for thought. And it's not all AI ethics. There's also a lot of questions regarding mental health and how we can best improve it, and the kind of people who might want to get into that field in the first place. If you do decide to give this game a try, grab a friend to play along with you so you can talk out the different prompts that it gives you. That's what I did, and it gave me plenty of information to challenge my way of thinking. So while not super popular, go ahead and try out Eliza, folks. It's pretty good. Portal 1 and 2 are 3D puzzle platformers that both feature a woman named Shell. In both games, you have to clear a series of testing chambers set up by a robot AI named GLaDOS using the nifty portal gun, which allows you to teleport from place to place. Yes, this is the first time I've played either of these games, you can go ahead and mock me. Still, the reason I'm pointing it out is because I'm honestly impressed that the hype I had seen for both games was not undeserved. The first Portal game is already very good. It has a simple yet oppressive set design, a single character that has some great one-liners, great music, and puzzles that build off each other in a natural way. And Portal 2 just kicks this all up a notch in the visuals, the story, the game mechanics, all of it. For how old both entries are, it's amazing how well they've managed to hold up as some of the greatest games of all time. I would even go as far as to say that Portal 2 is a masterpiece. So, go ahead and play Portal. Even if you already have, play it again. You know you want to. Your Turn to Die is a visual novel where you play as a teenage girl named Sarah Chioden, who gets thrown into a death game where everybody is pitted against each other. During each round, all of the players have to work together in order to survive the floor master of each level. But at the very end, that friendship is tested when they're forced to vote on a single person to kill off for the sake of everybody else. The main cast of Your Turn to Die is handled super well for being so large. You've got a variety of different ages, backgrounds, and perspectives at play that creates some really compelling conflict. While there's some people you're bound to like more than others, every character has their time to be in the spotlight, and even death doesn't halt their development, unlike some other death games. Anyone who's a fan of Danganronpa, or even some people who aren't but really enjoy the idea of it, should check this game out. The ideal way to experience this game, in my opinion, is to get a friend to help you voice all of the characters. There's no voice acting in this game at all, so this really lends to some creativity with the characterization of some of these yahoos. For the record, this guy has a crippling fear of wood. No, I'm not going to elaborate on this. Zero Escape 999 is an escape room visual novel where you play as a man named Junpei as he and 8 other people work together to escape a giant ship before it sinks. Along the way, you also try to figure out why everybody else is here and what the Game Master Zero wants with you. Also, there's a bunch of math. There's plenty to appreciate about this game that I don't have the time to go into yet, but it's the story structure of this game that impresses me the most. With multiple routes possible and so many different details strewn between them, it would be very easy to leave some loose ends dangling and screw up the overarching story. And yet, this game somehow avoids that. It takes some effort to be sure, and not everything is spelled out clearly, but each route has a different piece of the puzzle and unique interactions that help flesh out the story and the characters more. I'd say it's worthwhile to play every route in the game, including the ones that aren't necessary to get the best ending, just to make sure you don't miss anything and get to see every facet of these characters along multiple timelines. There's 2 other games in the Zero Escape series, and I'm still playing through the second, which unfortunately leaves something to be desired, but the original is a good standalone story and is worth exploring for yourself. Inscription is a roguelike deck builder where you must play a twisted, shadowy figures card games in order to escape his cabin. And that's all I can say about it. This game is best experienced blind, and so much of what I love about it I can't share without giving away major spoilers. But that isn't going to stop me from talking about the best part of this game: how phenomenal the atmosphere is. Every element of the rundown cabin you're trapped in plays off each other beautifully to fully immerse you in the world of Inscription. The music makes you feel like you're wandering alone in a forest, uncertain of where you're going or what's going to jump out at you. Decorating the cabin is countless trinkets that surely have something more to them than meets the eye. And the Game Master is a threatening figure, and his game is every bit as twisted as he is. Pulling teeth, sacrificing your cards, grafting them together, a rustic grisliness weaves its way into every part of the game. Not to mention that sometimes your survival is left up to good RNG and making use of whatever luck you've got. While that's definitely going to put off some players, it only made me much more invested in what progress I might lose if I happen to fail. This game is definitely not for everybody. In fact, I got so stressed out the first night I played this, I almost quit entirely. But I would say that it at least deserves a watch through if you don't have the patience for yourself. Trust me, you're not going to be sorry, and some of the best characters show up way later in the game. Before I announce my favorite game of 2022, let me give you the background as to why this game means so much to me. People who watched my November update video know that I wasn't having a great time as my semester was winding to a close. I was stressed, I was exhausted, I was sick, and I was frustrated that I had spent so long working on my V3 rewrite video, only to have to keep shelving it because of tech difficulties, real-life conflicts, other video priorities, and eventually, just plain burnout. Trying to play through the emotionally devastating Your Turn to Die and the uncomfortable Virtue's Last Reward did nothing to help me relax either. So I was really struggling just to loosen up and find a way to push myself out of this funk. But a couple of days after I published that update video, I downloaded a game on a whim and I fell in love with it. Since the 2-ish months since I've bought the game, I've beaten it twice, clocked in 40 hours total, and I've 100%ed it. To me, no other game is more worthy of the title Favorite Game of 2022 than Bugsnax. Bugsnax is a 3D creature collector where you're a journalist visiting the island of Snacktooth. Your mission is to track down an explorer named Elizabeth Megafig and learn more about these creatures she's investigating called Bugsnax. But upon arrival, you learn that the island's inhabitants are strewn about and in desperate need of help. Not to mention that Lizbert has disappeared to who knows where. So you explore the island, help out the villagers, and you try to solve the mystery of where Lizbert has disappeared to. To go into every reason why I love Bugsnax would warrant its own video. And to be fair, that's not entirely out of the question. But there's truly no part of this game that I don't love. The music, the world design, the Bugsnax, the gameplay, the humor, all of it is really good, and it brings a smile to my face just thinking about it. But what cinched my love for this game was the writing and how the voice actors brought these characters to life. A game called Bugsnax has no right to have a cast as great as this. Every single one of these characters has made me laugh multiple times, and their delivery only adds on to it. And for such a goofy game, these characters all have some surprising depth that caught me off guard. How can a game have a character named Gramble Gigglefunny deliver this line to a man named Wambus Troubleham with 100% sincerity, and how the f does it actually work?
You don't know a thing about love! That's why your wife left you!
I'm gonna do violence to you.
This line cracks me up every time. I love this game so much. And as the cherry on top for me, this game has really good queer representation. I'm not even kidding. There's 2 women who are in an openly same-sex relationship, kiss each other on video, and pretty much the whole cast spends the game talking about how much they love each other. This funky guy, who is voiced by Sonic, enjoy that knowledge, has a big crush on his dude bro roommate, and it's legit one of the cutest things I've ever seen. And the best character in this game is introduced with they/them pronouns. They're referred to as another character's sibling, never as a brother or a sister, and it's never brought up by any of the other characters as being atypical or abnormal. They're even voiced by a non-binary voice actor, which is even cooler. Plus, shout out for having the balls to make the non-binary scientist easily the most buck-wild character. How can someone like this exist? It's fantastic. This game is just so full of heart and cheer. It's pure serotonin, and I love Bug Snacks to death. Play this game. Just play it whenever you feel sad. You're gonna thank yourself later. Trust me.
And on that note, that's gonna be the ending of my 2022 Game Awards. I had to leave off a couple entries for the sake of time because honestly, I cannot afford to work on a 30-minute video. So I had to leave off a few games, like some Double Fine games, the first Danganronpa game, and that one sexy anime game that's all about edging. But if you're interested in those, I'm going to be putting a link down to my full ranking list in the description. And I will be updating it semi-regularly as I do finish more games throughout the upcoming year. Going forward into 2023, I'm going to try to be a lot nicer to myself about this channel and my upload schedule, because I'll be completely honest with you, 40-minute videos are just kind of not that viable anymore. Especially now that I'm going into my last semester of college. I'm not sure how my channel is going to change or if it's going to change at all, but I'm excited for the future of the Tiny Leaf channel and for 2023 in general. I sure hope that I'm going to walk away out of this year a lot better than I did walking into it. If you're interested in keeping up with me, follow me on the Burning Remains of Twitter or follow me on Instagram. I'm going to try to post some more art assets there, and because I've kind of been ignoring it for the past couple of weeks, but hey, something's gonna end up there eventually, and we never know where Twitter's gonna go at this rate. But that's gonna be it for me today. So everybody, make sure to stay hydrated, and I can't wait to see what 2022... God damn it, I did it again! Stay hydrated, everybody, and I can't wait to see what 2023 brings us. This is TinyLeaf, signing off.